I would like to thank the government of Austria for hosting this important policy dialogue on the role of development cooperation in advancing gender equality and the empowerment of women. I regret that I cannot be with you in person, so I want to share some thoughts with you on substance and the expectations for this conference. This meeting takes place at a very important moment. Discussions on the new development framework that will succeed the Millennium Development Goals are firmly underway. The MDGs provoked global attention and action on many fronts. The separate goal to promote gender equality and women's empowerment, MDG 3, played a vital role in focusing attention on gender equality and women's empowerment in the global development agenda. Considerable progress towards achieving the MDGs has been made, including the achievement of gender parity in primary education and declines in income poverty in some regions. But there's much that remains to be done to build on the momentum and gains this generation of MDGs has achieved. What are some of the pertinent lessons learned that we ought to take into account as we embark on the next generation of the MDGs? The challenges to development are rooted in deep inequalities that perpetuate poverty and social injustice, and women continue to suffer the consequences in larger proportions than men. We must work towards eliminating these inequalities. Merely reducing the proportion of people deprived of their human rights is no longer acceptable. Gender inequality is one of the most prevalent forms of structural inequality in both the developed and the developing world. Fair, just, sustainable development is only possible with gender equality, and it must be at the core of the new development framework. This development framework must be fully consistent with international norms and standards as set out in the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women and the Beijing Platform for Action. Sustainable development, with a human being at its center, ought to be the foundation of our reflections and the way forward as called for in the Rio+20 outcome document and the future women want. It should incorporate the three dimensions of sustainable development: environmental, economic, and social, to ensure the well-being of current and future generations based on human rights, environmental sustainability, and equality. The discussion on development in a post-2015 world presents an opportunity. It is an opportunity we must seize to secure strong commitments from development partners at all levels that set clearly defined goals for women's empowerment and gender equality. It is an opportunity to expand and strengthen these partnerships and to ensure transparency and accountability at all levels. The Millennium Development Goals, just as the Charter of the United Nations, were created on the premise that every human being, irrespective of biological, social, economic, political, or cultural differences, is entitled to equal rights in reaching his or her full human potential. This belief must guide us forward. Now is the time for action. As we move towards a post-2015 world, we must work on the means so we can achieve women's full and equal participation. Let us do all we can. Let us work together to deliver on the promise of sustainable development and bring about a world of peace, equality, and justice for all. I wish you a successful conference. Thank you very much.